I think the last podcast that I did was right after the draft, I think it was. That's going to be like a lost podcast. I have it recorded, but I don't think I'm going to put it out for everybody because it's not really relevant.
I lied.
Please, 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 you have to let me go!
But the one fan base and the one team that I know doesn't want to see good things happen when it comes to Devonta Smith are Giants fans. Now, let me just say this right now. I understand that Eagles fans and Giants fans, we're a lot alike. We're a lot more alike than we might want to advertise. You know, the Eagles fan base and the Giants fan base, it's the closest rivalry in the NFL when it comes to distance. And both fan bases are extremely passionate about their teams, very passionate about their organizations. It's one of those situations where we both love our teams, and we both love to watch our team succeed, and we both like to watch the opposing team fail. I happen to know that all offseason, Giants fans were like, we want Devonta Smith, which I didn't really understand because you don't really need a wide receiver. You just got Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton would make a great number 2. Sterling Shepard would make a great slot receiver. You're pretty much set at that position. But for some reason, Giants fans were mocking Devonta Smith to go to them. They were getting extremely excited to have him. Again, I'm not even going to try to think about their logic because it doesn't make any sense. The fact of the matter was that the Eagles had the 12th pick, the Giants had the 11th pick, and the Cowboys had the 10th pick. Now, I think the Cowboys really wanted Patrick Surtain, and J.C. Horn, who he was the other cornerback, he got drafted by the Panthers. The Broncos drafted Surtain, and then the Cowboys were like, oh, damn it. They had the 2 players that we wanted. And they decided, okay, we're going to trade out because we're keying in on one guy, which happened to be Micah Parsons from Penn State, the linebacker. And the Eagles were like, okay, we want a wide receiver. So they swapped picks with the Cowboys, and the Eagles gave the Cowboys a 3rd rounder to go in front of the Giants' pick. Now, in my mind, I thought that Micah Parsons would be a better pick for the Giants just because their linebacking core is not as good as their wide receiving core, in my opinion. But the Eagles go up in front of them, and the Eagles are like, all right, we're going to get Devonta Smith. And the moment the Eagles went up in front of the Giants for their pick, every single Giants stream you turned on, those fans were going absolutely nutters because they thought they were going to get Devonta Smith. They knew that the Cowboys weren't going to get Devonta Smith, but they thought, okay, he's ours. He's going to be ours. He's going to be our player. The national freakout by Giants fans was absolutely incredible. It was probably one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life. It was one of those situations where, like, typical Eagles fashion versus Giants, it's one of those things where the Eagles kind of pulled the tablecloth underneath them at the last possible second, which, hey, that's how things happen between the Eagles and the Giants recently. And we ended up getting their prize, and they got pissed. Totally understandable. It's exactly what happened between the Eagles and the Cowboys last year with CeeDee Lamb. And the one thing that was hilarious is the fact that Giants fans were like, why would the Eagles and the Cowboys are conspiring against us? Why would they trade with each other? Like, acting like we've never traded with each other. It's happened before. It happened in 2007. The Eagles gave the Cowboys their 1st round selection and then ended up moving further back. So it does happen. And I highly doubt it had anything to do with the Giants, But Giants fans always like to think, oh, everything's a conspiracy theory against us. The Eagles and the Cowboys were trying to play some type of mind game with us, but it didn't work. But it did work because you're pissed off. Even though that's not necessarily what happened. We drafted Devonta Smith, and they actually made a really smart decision and decided to trade back. They traded back with the Bears. The Bears drafted Justin Fields and gave them a whole bunch of picks. So the Giants really made it well out next year when it comes to draft picks. It was a great trade. But then I think they had the 21st pick, and the decision was Kwity Paye. I think that's how you pronounce his name, from Michigan, the defensive end / edge rusher. And that was the pick. That was the smart pick. But I really believe that the Giants, I don't know what their board looked like, or if this was kind of like a desperation pick because they wanted Devonta Smith. They wanted a wide receiver. So I guess you could say that in the first round, David Gettleman's draft board only had wide receivers on it. But they decided they didn't pick Bateman from Minnesota, who that was the wide receiver pick. They decided to pick Kadarius Toney, who Kadarius Toney is a really good player. I mean, he's not a scrub. He is not a scrub. I think, one of the reasons why he was a little bit overlooked is because Kyle Pitts plays for Florida, and then Kyle Trask is the quarterback who was like a Heisman nominee at one point. But they ended up drafting Kadarius Toney, which surprised everybody, including Giants fans. They can pretend that it didn't surprise them, and it didn't surprise anybody else. Nobody really had Kadarius Toney in the first round. The closest thing to wanting or saying that Kadarius Toney was a first rounder was Walter Football. I'm not going to discount Walter Football because they're smarter than me. They do way more scouting than I do. I'm not a scout. But again, Kadarius Toney is a really good player, but that was a reach. But what I'm going to say in that situation is, I always say that, you could draft a seventh round prospect in the first round as long as he's your guy. Hey, that's your decision. It's not my decision. Have at it. But the funny part is the fact that Giants fans really showed how jealous they were that the Eagles picked up Devonta Smith and they didn't. What was really funny is that after the first day, Giants fans started showing pictures of Devonta Smith, and he was kind of like giving like a half-ass smile, right? Personally, I'm not really a smiler. I don't really like to smile in pictures. It's just a thing that I do. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I wasn't really smiling. I was just kind of like, the shock was kind of wearing off. But they were kind of making fun of us because they were like, oh yeah, he doesn't want to play for the Eagles just like everyone else because the Eagles, they like to tank, blah, blah, blah. And, it was just kind of funny looking at all the Giants fan tweets. One female Giants fan, she was like, the Eagles organization, they need to use a caricature to show their draft pick smiling, but that wasn't even Devonta Smith. That was this guy named Grimes who was drafted, who wasn't drafted. He was an undrafted free agent from Florida. But it was just like fail after fail after fail after fail. The funniest thing is the fact that they kept showing Kadarius Toney smiling with that jersey, and I was like, that was like a $99 Nike game jersey that they gave this guy. I was like, you make millions of dollars, you couldn't even shill together $300 to get this dude a Vapor Untouchable jersey like the Eagles were able to give to Devonta Smith. I just thought that was like the funniest thing ever. This guy, like obviously Kadarius Toney is smiling with ear to ear, smiling like a clam because this guy, he didn't think he was going to get drafted in the first round. And I just found it funny that, I think I know how Giants fans feel about their own pick because of how much they're talking about our pick. I don't really even care about Kadarius Toney. It's whatever. I don't really have much of an opinion about him one way or another. We haven't been talking about Kadarius Toney. But I just think that it's funny that in order to feel relevant, Giants fans need to initiate themselves into other conversations and kind of like say things that they think Eagles fans feel. But at the end of the day, you know, we made two different picks. We made a pick that was really, really good in the first round, and you guys made a pick probably would have been available in the second round, if I'm going to be plainly honest. But, you know, it doesn't really bother me. I understand that Giants fans are trying to troll the situation because they know they lost, and they need to find some semblance of success. So the Giants are a better team, and I expect them to compete for the division. It's also very telling of the fact that they have to talk about us for some reason, even though we're not going to be that good of a team. We have like a ceiling of 6 wins maybe. But yet you're talking about a team that's probably going to only have 6 wins. Instead of worrying about yourselves, it's kind of weird. It's kind of creepy. But, you know, it's whatever. I understand that Giants fans feel a certain way about the Eagles. We've owned them in the past few years. I expect that to change. But if I'm going to be frank here, Daniel Jones, this is like a make or break year for him. And I also see Giants fans trash talking Jalen Hurts. Well, let me tell you something. Daniel Jones had 12 touchdowns last year in 14 games? Jalen Hurts played in 4 games, and he had more than half the touchdowns. So, you know, if Jalen Hurts sucks, which he could possibly suck, what is Daniel Jones? I think that's a question we all have to start asking ourselves.